The Gemara in Maseret Pesachim Daf Zayin says in the name of Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Kol habrachot mevarech over le'asiyatan. Any bracha a person blesses in one of the three categories of brachot. We have birkot mitzvot, birkot nehenin, and birkot shevach ve'oda'ah. So in all three of these categories, especially the first two, a person must bless and then perform the mitzvah, or then take enjoyment of the food or the smell or drink or whatever it is he's blessing on. That's the way it goes usually. The question is, if a person forgot to do so, person started the mitzvah, or sometimes even finished the mitzvah, is he allowed to bless on the mitzvah that he started performing, or do we say it's too late? And we'll try and see how that applies to Hanukah in a second. So a few classic examples are a person puts on a talit and he forgot to bless. I actually see many people who bless on a regular basis. They put their talit on themselves, then they bless, and then they continue. That's improper. The proper way to bless is to first bless and then begin the action. Or same thing with tefillin. The Gemara says you shouldn't bless when it's in the kuracha. It shouldn't be over le-over, meaning it shouldn't be a lot before. You should be one step prior to the action. So as soon as you finish the beracha, you should try and perform the mitzvah immediately. So therefore you should place the tefillin out of the box, remove everything, place it on your muscle, and then be ready to tie, finish laniach tefillin, and then you tie immediately. So some people, what they do is they tie once or twice, and then they bless. That's also improper, because technically it's already tied. It's already placed properly. But could you bless? If a person already started rapping, he realized, wait, I didn't bless. Could he bless or not? So there the Rambam writes on these two examples of talit and tefillin, he writes explicitly that you could bless not even if you're mid-action. If you finish putting on tefillin sheyad, tefillin shalosh, it's called a mitzvah mitmashechet. It's a continuous mitzvah, and therefore as long as you're still dealing with the mitzvah, you're wearing them, you could still bless. La'aniach tefillin means that the tefillin are placed in the right place. So even if you're not doing an action immediately after, it is nahug based on the Tosafot to go kiss the tefillin or to kiss the talit, the tzitzit, and to show as if I'm doing an action after. But you don't have to. Because you're continuously doing the mitzvah, it is still proper to bless. There are some examples that you're clearly post the mitzvah, you're after the mitzvah and you can't bless. For example, according to Chavad at least, if a person, and most Sephardi poskim, if a lady already lit the Shabbat candles, then the action was already done. There is a minhag by many Argentinian Jews as well, like the Ben Ish Hai and others, to bless after. But according to the poskim who say you must bless before, once you completed the mitzvah, it's done. You can't bless. There are other examples. A person did finish whatever it is the mitzvah he did. He's completely finished the mitzvah. It's too late to bless. The question is, what happens in regards to Hanukah? If a person lit one candle, obviously on the first night, so that's it. Halas, the mitzvah is over. You clearly cannot bless on the shamash. That's extra. Obviously, if you're lighting wax candles, so your shamash is already lit. But for those who light oil, they first light the first candle, then they light the oil shamash. You can't bless on the oil shamash. That's extra. But the question begins on the second night onwards. If a person forgot to bless on the first candle and has one candle left, or the 8th night he lit 4 candles and he has a few candles left, can he still bless or not? So the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Taf Reish Ayin Aleph, he doesn't address this question directly, but he writes an interesting halacha. Kama nerot madlik. The Shulchan Aruch asks, how many candles should you light on Hanukah? Balayla haRishon madlik ehad. The first night you light 1. Mikan ve'elach mosif ve'olech ehad bechol layla. And every other night you add 1 more candle per night. Ad shebeleil hacharon, until the last night, you shemona. The Shulchan Aruch does not even mention the ikar adin, the basic standard halacha. We mentioned yesterday the Braita in Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Bet in Maseret Shabbat. Tanu Rabbanan, Ner Hanukah, Ner Ishu Beto, 1 candle per household. That's it. That's the bare minimum. That's the chiyuv, the obligation per night. So if you have only 1 candle the 8th night, what do? Based on the Gemara, you light 1. Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention that. The Shulchan Aruch says the first night light 1, second night light 2, third 3, 8th night 8. Why did he not write the bare minimum? All of the Achronim asked this question. They're very bothered by this. It's a very big nafkamina. If I don't have 8 candles on the last night, Shulchan Aruch didn't teach me you could light 1. So of course you learn a Braita in Maseret Shabbat. You say, okay, it's mehadrin min mehadrin. Of course I could light 1. It's Talmud beforash. But why did the Shulchan Aruch not bring the basic halacha? This is a question asked by the Pri Megadim, Rabbi Yosef Teomim. And he's very bothered by this. And he says maybe because if you don't have 8, you can't light. Maybe it's already so in the linkage, the chain of Am Yisrael for histories that everybody lights 8 candles on the 8th night. So if you want to light 1, it's asur. That's what he wants to write. The koach of the minhag could be so great that you can no longer bless. That's what Rabbi Yosef Teomim suggests, the Pri Megadim suggests. And then he says, v'tzarich iyun ladina. He says, I'm not so sure, I'm not going to take that on my shoulders. I don't want to say that, halacha lema'aseh. But he says, tzarich iyun. I don't understand why the Shulchan Aruch omitted this halacha. So, many say that it's because of the minhag, and if you have 8, it's not an option. If you want to be me'adlim in a me'adlim. But obviously, if push comes to shove, a person has 1 candle, clearly you would bless, halacha lema'aseh, you'd bless on the 1 candle. But comes of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach and answers the question that I said earlier. He says that if a person already had lit 4 candles on the 8th night and he has a few candles left, he says, you know why the Shulchan Aruch wrote this? To teach you that the extra candles have already become minadin, and therefore it's considered like a continuous mitzvah. Although you already finished ikar adin, you could still bless. And therefore he writes, it's in Minchat Shlomo Siman Nun Het, Simanach Ne Hanukah. That's how you remember easy. He says in Siman Nun Het, you could still bless as long as you did not complete it. And that's the psak of Chacham Ovadia. A person could continue to bless even though he didn't finish. He actually writes the same exact halacha in Arbat HaMinim. Even if you're just doing hakafot and you forgot to bless on Arbat HaMinim, it's a minhag, it's not a chiyuv. He says as long as you're still dealing with the mitzvah and you're doing what is the minhag is to do, you could still do such a thing. So that's halacha l'maaseh, a person could still bless.